see you again.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Hi.
I came here in part because I had my second shot with the Ford Foundation.
So, good afternoon, colleagues and friends, and welcome to the briefing on Vietnam's presidency of the Council for the month of April this year. And I am Nam, political coordinator of Vietnam Mission. And as you may be aware, this briefing, and like the recent ones, is held in accordance with guidelines on social distancing, given the COVID-19 pandemic situation in the city. And apart from colleagues who are now in the room, others are also joining via the virtual platform WebEx that the UN has kindly helped prepare. And as the briefing by the after the briefing by our PR, the President of the Council in April, we would very much look forward to your questions, and certainly including from colleagues joining via the virtual platform. And so without any further ado, allow me to introduce Ambassador Dinh Quý, President of the Council for April.
Thank you very much for joining us today. And I also thank you for going along with Vietnam in the last 15 months in the Council. And I think that your support for Vietnam and cooperation with Vietnam mission here is very, very valuable for us, unless nobody knows what we are doing here. Yes, as you know that at 11:23 today, the Council adopted the program of work. And I hope that you received it already. And this month we have up to now totally 25 meetings, of which 15 are open and 10 is closed meeting and consultation. So it's a kind of rather well balanced between open and closed. And we have maybe maximum number of open debate, 5 open debate in a month. One is regular open debates on the Middle East, including Israeli and Palestinian question. And the 4 open debate is the signature event. The first one will be on April 8, on my action. And that one will be presided by our Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs. It is high-level debate. The second one will be on the April 14. The theme of that open debate is sexual violence in armed conflicts. And the third one on April 19 is on the strengthening cooperation between the UN, sub-regional and regional organizations in promoting dialogue, confidence-building measures for conflict prevention. It's really high-level briefing, high-level open debate, and will be presided by our president. And the last one will be on the April 28, and that will be chaired by our new foreign minister. Yeah, the new one. You will see him. Yeah. And it will be the protections of objects indispensable to survivors of civilian population. Yeah. Those are 4 key events, the signature event for Vietnam in this presidency of April. Unfortunately, that most of our meeting through VTC format. So the open debate is not like usual format. So only 15 members of the Security Council can make their statement. The other member of the UN can join, but by submitting their written statement, and that will be part of the file of the event. And the other thing is about the procedures, working procedures. We discussed rather long this morning about how and when we can coming back to the council chamber. And I myself, with the president, I wish to do that very much. And it was very supportive by rather large number of the council members, but still some members still hesitate because of it depends on the situation, it depends on the decision of CDC in New York and CDC of the UN Secretariat here. And we agree that in the course of April, we continue to discuss on the issues. If in the later part of April, the situation of COVID-19 here improved very much and it allowed a safe distancing like this, we can come back to the SC chamber. Right. So that briefly of our program in April, and I think that I don't need to go over again and again the thing that you know well already, and some you know even better than me. So thank you very much, and now the floor is open for questions and I'll try to answer.
So we will now begin the Q&A session, and please kindly introduce yourself when taking the floor. And we will take one question from people in the room, and then the next one with those participating via WebEx. And as a long-standing tradition, let us invite Valeria, first the president of the UN Correspondents Association. Valeria, please.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Ambassador, for this press conference on behalf of ANCA, and we wish you the best of luck for these busy months ahead. So my question is on Myanmar. After the Security Council meeting yesterday, what significant steps and actions do you think can be taken next? So in the next weeks or days? Thank you so much.
Thank you for your question. As you know that yesterday afternoon, the Council had the AOB format on the Myanmar question. And the Council is still working on the press element. And hopefully by late tonight or tomorrow morning, I think that the press element will come out. And in the program of work this month, there will be one event. It's a area format scheduled on April 9. So it allow the wider member state to join and to express their view and position on the issues. Yes.
And next, I have from WebEx, Stephanie.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ambassador, for the briefing. I was wondering if you could specify your national position on sanctions on Myanmar.
Our national position on Myanmar is very clear. Yeah, we follow very closely the situation there because Myanmar is one of the ASEAN families. The situation in Myanmar is not only affected the today and the future of Myanmar, but also affected the stability and prosperity of ASEAN region as well. And then we express our serious concern about thing development there, the escalation of violence, especially that the things happened on March 27, that leading to more than 100 people died, including women, children, and youth. And then we condemn the use of violence against civilians. And we call on all sides to sit down and talk, to seek any possibility, to sit down and talk. So to stop violence, and then to create an environment conducive for dialogue and a peaceful settlement of the issues. And we also welcome, I think, that the cooperation and assistance of international partners, especially the UN. And we welcome the cooperation between UN and ASEAN on that sense, stop violence, create conditions for dialogue, and so on and so forth. Yeah, that is our position.
Just following up, could you specify if Vietnam will support UN sanctions on Myanmar or not?
On the issue of sanctions, that our position is also very clear. We do not support unilateral sanction. But as a member of the Security Council and the members of UN family, we follow all the decision made by the UN Security Council. Yes, as long as it's effective, and as long as it's not exert any negative impact on the life of the people and on the humanitarian situation of the country concerned. Thank you.
Ambassador.
Thank you. After Toby, I have Pamela Falk, and then Edith, and James, and George.
Thank you very much,
Phil.
Ambassador, and best of luck for your presidency this month. One more question on Myanmar, if you don't mind. Because Vietnam is such a prominent member of ASEAN and now taking the Security Council presidency, it puts Vietnam in a very important position with this crisis. So I just want to ask you further. Yesterday, the Chinese said that they do not support any kind of one-sided action, and you've just reiterated that sentiment there. But do you think that more pressure in general from the Security Council would be useful for the situation in Myanmar now, or it would be impact it negatively? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question. As I said, that the number one priority of number one job of the UN Security Council and the UN is to save people. And number one priority now is stop violence. And to stop violence, we have to make any effort to de-escalate the tension of one side. So I think that any measure have to take that into account. If it helps de-escalation, it helps stop violence, and if it creates favorable condition for dialogue among different sides and find out a satisfactory solution to the problem, we support that.
Next, I have Pamela Falk from CPS. Pamela, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Ambassador, for the press briefing. We're looking forward to many stakeouts during the month, even if virtual. My question is about Iran and the JCPOA. The Security Council has not been called yet regarding talking about the renegotiations for getting the United States back in. But the European Union did announce today that the parties will be meeting tomorrow to talk about it. Do you think the Security Council can play a role, since they did in codifying the JCPOA? Can they play a role in getting the JCPOA back with the United States as a party? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for raising a very important question. We know that here and there, bilaterally or unilaterally, I mean by groups, people are talking about and we find out the solution of the JCPOA. But so far, we haven't got any requests from any members to include the meeting of the Security Council on the issues. Thank you very much.
Next, I have Edith. And then Judah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. Nice to see you in person. I'd like to echo what Pamela said. We hope that you do many stakeouts. I too have a follow-up on Myanmar, but somewhat different, because your presidency of the Security Council coincides with the ASEAN summit at the end of the month. And we know that the foreign minister of China held talks with several ASEAN ministers, I believe yesterday. So I wonder if you think that the combination of your being president of the Security Council and the ASEAN leaders meeting could actually try and end the violence in Myanmar and restore the path to democracy?
Thank you very much for your very important question. And it's a kind of very heavy obligation on Vietnam, this time as the presidency, as a member of ASEAN in the Council. When our good friend of Indonesia existed, yes, happily and successfully, you know very well that ASEAN now is talking about that militarian meetings and then the leaders meeting to discuss on the community, ASEAN community buildings, and also ASEAN internal and external relations. And then the leader will be updated situation on Myanmar and the exchange about that how ASEAN could be of assistance to Myanmar. And for us, for Vietnam, I think that we keeping regular contact here and also in the capital, the discussion within the council, and to all the members of ASEAN here, ASEAN New York Committee, and also at the capital in the region. So I think that we are trying, and we try to find out the best solution we can be of assistance to Myanmar. But everything still, you know, hanging a very difficult question, and we need not only ASEAN, but the joint hand of all international community to help Myanmar, to help ASEAN, to help the regional country to find a solution that's satisfactory to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I have one question from WebEx. Iftika IP of Pakistan. Please.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Ambassador, on assumption of presidency. I had some technical difficulties and I got in a bit late in your briefing, but my question is that the talks on Afghanistan, peace talks on Afghanistan are stalled and violence is increasing in the country. Do you have any plans to discuss the situation in Afghanistan during your presidency?
About Pakistan? Huh? Afghanistan. Oh yeah, right. Sorry, I couldn't hear you clearly. But I think this month we have no meeting up to now. But as I said that, this document is a kind of open document. It's subject to the request of the member state or the requirement of the situation. The council's job is to follow closely everywhere in the world. Then if they see the situation on the ground require an immediate meeting, we make an immediate consultation among the members and convene the meeting. Thank you for your question.
Next, I have James.
James Bays, Al Jazeera. Ambassador, good to see you again, and thank you for doing this. I'm afraid you can tell what is our main issue today. I want to talk about Myanmar again. And you've been very clear in your answers. You said that the two sides need to talk. But I want to challenge you on that. Are there really two equal sides in this? One side is the people of Myanmar, represented by their democratically elected politicians who are illegally in jail and whose will is demonstrated by peaceful protesters who are being gunned down in the streets. On the other side are the people who are doing the gunning down, the small group that's the military. What's there to talk about between these so-called two sides? They're not equal, are they?
Thank you for your question. I think this is a very difficult question, and I met with several questions within the council discussion as well. But at the time being, we think that the only way is to engage with everyone. If we make any side inside Myanmar feel that they are not engaged, or they feel that they are isolated, it could be worse. So your question is right, but what is alternative? It's very hard to say about other alternative. Thank you very much.
Next, I have George, and then Judith.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Mr. President, George Baumgarten, correspondent for Jewish newspapers in North America and elsewhere, particularly the Astana Times in Kazakhstan. Just three short little pieces of questions. You have an item on the 22nd which says VTC open debate Middle East. May I assume that is the usual monthly Israel-Palestinian debate? You also mentioned that the foreign minister will preside on the 8th, and your new foreign minister will preside on at the meeting on the 28th. Is there a changing of the guard, as it were? Is there going to be a different new foreign minister? And finally, you have in the footnotes for possible discussion a letter from the permanent representative of Ukraine and a letter from the Russian Federation. What is the subject of those two letters, and what are they asking you to discuss or asking you to consider? Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much for your question. The first one is about the open debate on the Middle East, including Israel and Palestinian question. It is a quarterly, yet routine meeting every beginning month of a quarter. Yet. And the second question is about that preside of our two briefing. Yes, we are now our parliament, we mean National Assembly in our world, is in session, and we will have the new government. On the April 8th, the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, and Minister of Foreign Affairs is the current one. And then we have an election of the new government, and on the 27th, we have the new Minister of Foreign Affairs. Yes.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you. And the last thing about the footnote, as we explained in the last press conference in April, the footnote is there. That's simply meaning that the Council sees the issues. And if things happen and the member of the Council or the Council think that it needs to have a meeting on that, they work on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Yeah.
So next I have Judith and then Philip.
Judith. Có cái bà chị về cho tay này.
Oh, please. Yes. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I have two questions. I see non-proliferation. And a few weeks ago, one of my brilliant colleagues, I spoke with her this morning, she authorized me to use her name, Ms. Azem of El Arabi, pointed out that in violation of Article 6 of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, the United Kingdom is resuming development of nuclear weapons. This is a complete violation of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and they are a permanent member. There's often complaints about double standards at the United Nations. So by what moral or legal right can the Security Council sanction North Korea for resuming testing when, in violation of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, one of the permanent members is not only de facto not complying with Article 6, but aggressively violating it? And how will the Security Council deal with a situation like this? And as on another subject, in your capacity as ambassador, this is something I have discussed with your political counselor about a year ago. What is the status of reparations, which I believe the French and the Americans have been morally and practically obligated to give back to your country, and to which your country is owed? There's no way, of course, to compensate for everything lost, but there are still children being born deformed as a result of the Agent Orange that was saturating your country. And I know because I was there eating the food that was, So what is the status of that, and how much force can be brought to bear, and can the Council bring about any progress?
So thank you for your question. I think that's a very difficult question, and it is controversial. Each member of Security Council have their different views, and also the member of wider membership, they have their different views, and I think that is natural. And on the issues of the Korean peninsulas, you know very well that last Tuesday, that the Council has AOB format that allow the member of the Council to stay out their position on the issues. And it's not a secret that the panel of experts still working on to find out and to make the adjustment on the nature of the launch on March 25th. So I think that they work on the mandate that pursuant to the resolution that 1718 of the Security Council. And a little bit about that Agent Orange. And you know the story, and we know the story, everyone knows the story everywhere. But one thing I want to correct that Agent Orange is not affected on food. That cultivated on the soil. But if you burn something, it becomes smoke, and it affected the people. And Vietnam still suffer a lot because of that. 4th generation already, still defected, bone defected. It's very painful. And we want to solve the issues purely on humanitarian aspect only.
Is there any response? Because the word you hear coming out of the Security Council is invasion based on humanitarian concerns. Iraq, Libya, Syria. There seem to be such, it's like Orwellian. Mm-hmm. They say one thing and do another. And so the double standards are really, in many respects, discrediting.
Yeah. The same, I think that people have different viewpoints on the same issue, everywhere, including the member of Security Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I have Philip.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador, for this briefing. I'm sorry, but my question is also on Myanmar. Okay. Since the coup, we had 3 meetings from the Security Council, but closed. Do you think it's not time to have an open meeting on Myanmar at the Security Council?
I think that so far we haven't have any request or any discussion about the upcoming meeting on the Council. The only 4, as I mentioned, an area formula on April 9th. Yes. But again, I say that the program of work of the Security Council is open. If the member of the Council or the Council think that it's needed to have a meeting immediately, we will talk on that. Thank you very much.
Okay, next I have Lenka.
Thank you very much for this briefing. Lenka White from the Mainichi newspaper. My question is also on Myanmar. In what ways do you think ASEAN can be more effective or can contribute in comparison to the Security Council? Thank you.
I think the only way now to engage in different way, bilaterally, even personally, if anyone have any channel, to engage with own side. And we heard the voice of Security Council and other members to raise the issue that ASEAN should use their unique position as a regional organization, and ASEAN have a kind of different mechanisms on the place to engage with different sides, including the military authority there, to convince them on what should and what not should do. And I think that ASEAN and other regional countries trying that way to make all sides and to make all parties involved in the Myanmar understand what is good for them, for Myanmar today and for the future. Yes, we're still trying. Thank you.
Right. I don't see any further questions. So thank you very much for joining us today, and please reach out to us if you have any question. And thank you and see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the last thing I would like to promise that if the COVID situation allow and we come back here, I am more than happy to have more stakeout.
You can always come here for steak.
Yeah, and we should meet in person in our mission sometime after COVID. Thank you very much.
Virtual takeouts are great too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Ambassador Thomas Greenfield came here yesterday and did a stakeout because we're all distanced there, so you can still come and do
Okay,
stakeout.
okay.
We'd love
Okay.
to see you.
Yeah, sure. Right. Yeah,
This meeting is no longer being recorded.